Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Pepsi Prebiotic Cola in original and cherry vanilla. That Pepsi taste you love with just 30 calories and no artificial sweeteners. Pepsi Prebiotic Cola. Unbelievably Pepsi.
Doug, you know what OG's dressed as?
He is a Martian, maybe?
No. OG?
I'm Hulk dressed as a clown.
Hulk dressed as a what?
As a clown.
A clown. Yeah, if the Hulk wasn't scary enough, we got to throw a clown in there, too.
The Hulk goes Halloweening as a clown.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense.
As if OG isn't nightmare fuel all on his own. Now we've got Clown Hulk.
And what are you, Doug? Speed racer? You're a speed racer.
Oh, I'm a ski racer.
No, it looks like speed racer. It totally looks like.
Do you want to say that? Because it's a white helmet, I guess. Yeah, I could see why you'd say
What do they say very quickly? Whose brother secretly is Racer X and nobody knows?
Really? Is that a thing?
You never watched Speed Racer?
Never once watched Speed Racer.
Every time Racer X comes on the screen, they're like, and then the Racer X shows up, who's secretly his brother, but nobody knows. Every single time. Anyway, let's raise our glass, Hulk and Speed Racer or Ski Racer. On behalf of the men and women at Navy Federal Credit Union and the men and women making podcast in Mom's Basement, Big Monday salute to our troops. It's Halloween.
What are you doing?
Week.
What is in your hand?
What's in whose hand?
Your hand.
Oh, dude, it's my
terrifying mug.
Yeah, it's the mayor of Halloween Town mug from You Never Once Saw The Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, I didn't. I have not watched. I mean, of course, I know the movie, but
so you have no idea who that is either. No. So Oogie Boogie on my head, and this is the mayor of Halloween Town. Yeah. Anyway, salute to our troops, Doug. Hulk, whoever you are, who's secretly OG, but nobody knows. Let's go stack some Benjamins now.
Thanks, everybody.
My plan is sound, mathematically sound. It cannot fail. It's perfect. 3 months from now, I will be worth $50,000. Independent for life.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's a Halloween week episode of the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and what haunts are waiting where you least expect them? Maybe you are the surprise for kids in your community. We'll talk Halloween and money lessons with the host of the Money Life Show with Chuck Jaffe, Chuck Jaffe. In our headlines, nothing is more Halloween horrifying than living a life of regrets. One publication asked retirees what they regretted the most. We'll share them all. And if you still need more creepy and crawly, I'll share some absolutely ghoulish trivia. And now, two guys who are ready to put the nails in this coffin. It's Joe and OG.
And a very scary welcome to you, Stackers. No, that's not good. I'm Joe.
Are you doing Count Scary?
I was trying to. Remember that? The old SCTV days? Very scary.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Very scary. So funny. And so retro. That's what we call really old skits. All the Gen Zs out
Never
there.
heard of it.
SCTV, John Candy.
Yeah.
Doug and Bob
McKenzie.
Doug and Bob McKenzie.
But it's also where, I mean, there's so many big stars. As many big stars that you know got their start there as SNL.
Yeah. What's her name from Schitt's Creek?
Right.
Yeah, her.
And her and Big Star, Huge Star. We can't even remember her name. And also
him.
The dad from American Pie.
Dad and
from Schitt's Creek.
Levy. Yeah, and from Schitt's Creek. Eugene Levy. There's a bunch.
Yes,
there are more.
lots and lots. SCTV, the good old days. But welcome to the good new days because, man, we got a great show today, opening up Halloween week. Oh, gee, do you have anybody in your neighborhood that gets a little fancy on Halloween, maybe does something a little different than the rest of the neighbors?
I feel like we talked about this last time because I already talked about hot dogs and cocoa.
We did. And that's so yummy. It's so good. I'm coming to your neighborhood for Halloween this year.
Awesome. I won't be here, so perfect timing.
Wait a minute. What are you doing on Halloween? You've got hot dogs, and then what does the other neighbor have? A bar?
Beer.
I'm going to be south of the border for the next. I'm not even here right now. Actually, it's a hologram. This is we're using AI to put me in here because right now I am. What time is it? What time is it where you are? Whatever time it is, I have had 13 of those pineapple rum drinks already.
Perfect.
So whatever time it is, that's the equivalent of how much I've had in my system all the time. So
in the mood to give great financial advice. The best financial advice is
this is all AI.
After 13 of those,
it's whatever ChatGPT decides today.
Well, not only do you have neighbors who do the hot dogs, who have the bar out front for the parents, in Chuck Jaffe's neighborhood, he does economic games for the kids. The thing that makes kids run away and scares them the most.
I was going to say, so he gets 3 visitors a Halloween night?
It is actually funny because every year we have Chuck on to talk about how he's changed the game this year. When Chuck began this, he even said that people were not that excited about it, and now he gets this line of kids that want to play Chuck's game, and it's really cool. And now we've got some stackers across the country that are doing this, fans of Chuck's that do this too. So, what's this year's Halloween game? How can you create your own Halloween game? We're going to talk about that today, guys, and then retirement with no regrets, as Doug so lovingly said. But before all that, we love the fact that we can make this show free, but that means we have a couple great sponsors to make it free for you. Let's hear from a couple of them, and then we're off and running on this Halloween week special episode of the Stacking Benjamin Show. In business, there is no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. And when you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on, because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else, your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS Ground Advantage. We mean business. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you. Chuck Jaffe, not only the host of the Money Life show, back in the 1990s, when I was a financial planner, Chuck was always the voice of reason wherever he wrote. Syndicated columnist, Boston Globe. Chuck has a long history. He was also, by the way, and I hate to say this, but he was the editor-in-chief of one of the most prestigious college newspapers in the United States. Guess what university that was with? The most horrible university.
Obviously the Michigan Daily.
In the USA. Mm-hmm. He was the editor-in-chief of the Michigan Daily, which is a big post. You look at the number of people that have held that post. Chuck Jaffe's one of them. Let's say hello to the man, the myth, Chuck Jaffe. Well, there's two ways that you know that it's Halloween in America, or heck, around the world. Number one, Spirit of Halloween shops show up all over the place. And number two, Chuck Jaffe's back on the Stacking Benjamin show. How are you, Chuck?
I'm great. It's Halloween. It does not get better. Like, far and away, my favorite holiday.
It became better, as you know, when I heard about this magical thing you do to take my spouse's favorite holiday and make it even better. So for people that are new to this whole game, tell us what you do and where this inspiration first came from.
Well, so it's now something I've been doing for 9 or 10 years. I'd have to actually count it to know, but I know it's 9 or 10 years. Basically, what I started doing was offering, instead of trick or treat, it was cash or candy.
So a kid comes up to your house and now they can get cash or get candy.
Yes, but where it in its most basic form, I think it's actually a great way to do some stuff and to help those people who live in places where you only get a half a dozen. Like, yeah. I've got members of my audience on Money Life who say I get a couple of trick-or-treaters each year. And one of them says that what he does is he buys 2 6-bar packages of Almond Joys, because those are his wife's favorite. And he buys full-size candy bars.
Well, his wife can have them, Chuck, because Almond Joys suck.
Okay, well,
they're horrible.
They're not my favorite either, but that's what she loves. So he buys 12 Almond Joy bars, and then he brings out some envelopes, and he puts $1, and then one of them has $5. And he says, you can pick a candy bar, full-size candy bar, or you can pick an envelope. You might get 5, you'll probably get 1. Whatever it is. And that way, his wife has her favorite candy as his leftover. And he's not spending a lot of money, and there's not a whatever, and it works great. I started more simply than that. For years, if a kid came to my house, they got 3 pieces of fun-sized candy. And then I just said, well, wait, what if I offered you a chance to take some money instead? Would you rather have candy or money? Now, that's an easy one because they're not getting offered money every place, so most of the kids would take the money. You know, okay, great. Lesson learned for me. I immediately said, okay, let's start to give choices and teach money lessons, because you have to realize that kids are learning about money all the time, whether you're teaching them or not. And candy at Halloween is currency. It really is.
Sure.
So you want to actually start them thinking about choices that they're making. I live in a great neighborhood for Halloween. It's basically, you drive off the main drag and every street ends in cul-de-sacs. There are Halloween decorations all over the place. People from the other parts of town bring their kids into our neighborhood because they know there's no through traffic. Once kids have trick-or-treated here, they really want to come. And now, if they've been doing it for a while, they have cash or candy at my house. And I change the exercise each year. I wish I could give what I do each year and pass it to my neighbors, and just like everybody does what I did, and we have a whole block doing this.
But yours comes with not just with the game now every year, which changes a little bit every year, but you also give kids a written explanation, like, of how this works, right? And so parents even get to see what's going on.
Yeah. They make their decisions in front of me, but depending on which decision they make, I really like it when kids are taking home envelopes that have an explainer in them as to what they did. And that way the parent understands what was happening. We, by the way, have a tight neighborhood group, so I actually explain it to the parents in an email chain that goes on now. That's been a thing that started in the last 2 years, because parents were going, who's the crazy guy giving away money? and
Back off, crazy dude.
I'll also point out that for me, one of the things that's important, although we now are at COVID and lots of parents are in the neighborhood and whatever, post-COVID, is that the neighborhood was getting younger, but I'm older. I've been here. My kids are grown. And I didn't want to be somebody who, because I'm at home all the time, the kids didn't feel they could approach or whatever. Like, hey, that's the old guy living. So that was another reason to do it, because all the kids talk to me. Every kid talks to me on Halloween, because you have to, because we've gone from, hey, you can have 3 pieces of candy, or you can have this envelope, pick an envelope and it'll have some money in it. And you might make 50 cents, or you might make $5. Like, that's where it started in its most basic. It's not basic anymore.
Well, part of that game in the basic form, though, is teaching kids about probability, risk management, these kind of things.
Return on investment.
Return on investment.
You get dressed up, you come to my house, there is a return on investment for doing that.
How good are kids, in your estimation, at making those choices when they first come to your house? Are they good at it or not very good at it?
I think if you made the very basic choices and you didn't go quite to what I'm doing, they're very good at it.
Oh, good.
But when you get complicated, I will say there are kids who are overloaded by what we do. You can sort of see, okay, wait, I can't quite figure this out. However, the interesting thing is the kids who have that reaction tend to default to safe. And that means they're either going to take the candy, fine, that's what they came there to get, or they're going to take the $1 bill that is your base option against candy. They're not going to trade me because they don't quite understand it and they're not sure what they're getting. And like, wait, am I getting taken or do I really have a chance to win?
Still, they're doing a risk management assessment in their head.
It's fascinating. And I've had lots of discussions with kids. I've now had multiple kids who, when they get to where they're aging out of trick-or-treating, make a point of they're doing the neighborhood and they tell me, we're coming back to you. And they come back to me last so that they can talk to me. And I'm the one that they're going to be telling their kids, hey, remember that time when I went out and I won $20?
That's fabulous.
But even there, the first year we did the lottery option, we had a kid who won the lottery. He's a neighbor boy. And this year will be his last year trick-or-treating in the neighborhood because he's aging out and his parents just put their house on the market, right?
Oh.
So he won a couple of years ago and he won the first year, he won $20. And the next year he didn't play the lottery option.
I remember this.
I said, Liam, why are you not playing lottery? What are the odds of me winning 2 years in a row? Right? So he took the safe option. He went home with $1 or whatever it was that he got in the small envelope. The next year he came back, he played the lottery again and he didn't win. He wasn't real happy at not winning. And there's great lessons in there. Like the lottery's great when you win it. It's fabulous to get extra money. But oh, by the way, at the end of it, when you've traded me 5 pieces of candy and you've come away with nothing, not so great.
I'm headed to Vegas next week and it's the same lesson applies there, right? If the casino gives you money, don't give it back. Yeah. So let's talk about this year's iteration, Chuck.
Yeah.
Come to your house, trick or treat time.
The big change last year was that and by the way, this only applies to kids 3rd grade and up. If you are teenies, we give you 3 pieces of fun-sized candy. That's the way it goes. And it's funny because what happens is I buy very little fun-sized candy and then the kids who are trading me candy fill that bowl up for all the little kids. What happens is if you are 3rd grade and up and you come to my house, well, instead of 3 pieces of fun-sized candy, you now can have 1 full-size candy bar. That is a retail value of $1.50. Or you can have a $1 bill, which has a value of $1. Or you can trade me 2 pieces of candy, in which case you're going to be picking from envelopes that have anywhere between $0.25 and $8 in them.
Wait a minute. So 2 pieces of candy from their bucket, their pail, their
pillowcase. Yeah.
That came from somebody else's house.
Yes. 2 pieces of candy that came from somebody else's house. Fun size candy. I'm not taking a full size if anybody else in my neighborhood is crazy enough to give them out. Right.
Do they get to choose or do you randomly go in?
In the old days, I would reach in. Since COVID, they get to pick. And yes, some kids just reach in and grab 2 things and throw them in my sack. Some of them pick the 2 things that they like the least. I don't care.
Yep, you'd have all the almond joys. So yeah.
There you go. I would get all your almond joys. I've told you the story about the kid in the Snickers bars one time. So
That's right.
I can refresh that and revisit that if we need to. But the average value of those envelopes is $1.50. So you could get as little as $0.25. And so what it is that there's a coin in each envelope. And then if there's money in it, like, $8 is a $1 coin, a $5 bill, and a $2 bill, right? You try to make it that all of them seem the same. So
a clarification. Hold on before we moved on. You said the average. We just a couple of weeks ago had Ben Orlin on, a wonderful man who's a math teacher, makes math fun, math and bad drawings for all of our stackers. If you didn't hear Ben Orlin, but Ben and I talked about the difference between mean and median, right? So when you say the average, are we talking about the median number? Or are we talking about, you got a $100 bill in there, Chuck, so you got a bunch of empty ones?
No, we are talking about the expected value from picking one of those. If you picked every envelope, the expected value, which is not the median, it is the mean.
It's the mean.
Is $1.50. And
Okay.
it's important because, again, retail value on the full-size candy bar, not what I pay for them because I'm figuring out how to buy them most cheaply. But if a kid were to go to a candy store or go to 7-Eleven, they're paying like $1.59 these days for a full-size Hershey bar or whatever it is. So $1.50 for the candy, $1 in cash. Give me 2 pieces of candy, which does have a cost, to get an average of $1.50, right? But you could get more, you could get less. And then up until last year, the lottery option was 50 envelopes, one with a $20 bill, one with a $10 bill. So the expected return, if you picked an envelope, was 60 cents. You had $30 spread over 50 envelopes. Well, this year, the jackpot's going up. It's $25, and there's only 25 envelopes. So the expected value is now $1. So that matches the $1 in cash that you could get. But of course, you got to pay me 5 pieces of candy to play the lottery. And there's economic scarcity after all. We could very easily sell out of lottery tickets. So that's the change.
What's interesting to me, so the issue is, I think through this, as some people call me an adult, I've been called not an adult by others. I think about this and I just think, okay, if that candy bar is worth $1.50, that is obviously the option. But the problem is that I would have to be able to sell that for $1.50, which, because it's already been at my house, it's already like, I can't imagine that a candy bar that I bought at the store, I can take, Chuck, and sell to you and go, hey, I got this for $1.50. Would you buy it for $1.50? I bet, most people are going to go, no, thanks. So, and there's the trouble, there's your time. So at first I think, well, hell, economically, the best deal is to take the candy. But considering that I'm just going to consume it, and my economic opportunity with a Hershey bar is pretty much the taste of the Hershey bar versus if I take $1, I'm getting less, but I can use it for whatever the hell I want. It's an interesting conundrum.
Well, and remember, again, candy is currency on Halloween. So
good point.
If you're giving me 2 pieces of candy to play like the lottery, to play the small envelopes, well, you're giving me something that has very little value to you. Like if you're going home with a sack of candy, the $1.50 value on the candy bar, it's not worth $1.50 on the day after Halloween. It's worth $1.50 on the first day of spring, right? When you don't have Halloween candy and all your friends don't have Halloween candy, but you're dying for a piece of chocolate. And oh, by the way, you'd have to go out and buy. Yes, that is part of it as well. But we want the kids to sort of have fun with the decisions. And yes, we talk about all of these things wind up coming up. Kids will be, I'm a risk taker. I'm not a risk taker. I want to go home with something. I went home last year with nothing. I want to win this year. Though you're not guaranteed of a win. If you get a quarter, you didn't win.
No.
You didn't win, but your loss was negligible. It's fascinating to do. And by the way, you can do this. You don't have to get all the way out to the way I do it. You can make it simple cash or candy. You can make it that it's candy, cash, and do the lottery if you want. You can do it in other ways. When your kids bring home a big sack of candy and you don't want them to have all of that candy, you can buy it back or make a donation. Like if you don't, like you can donate the candy. Well, do something where you encourage your kids to donate the candy by, I'll double your donation or whatever. But do it in a way that teaches value. So my kids, my youngest daughter would eat any candy. My oldest daughter only ate pure chocolate. She wanted Hershey bars and Hershey Kisses and things that were chocolate that didn't have stuff in it. So they'd get home from trick-or-treating and she'd start trading with her sister, like, oh, I've got some Reese's Cups. I'll trade those for your Hershey bars. But by the end, when her sister had 3 pieces of plain chocolate left and she had 25 pieces of other stuff, it was, I'll take all your other stuff. You can have these 3, right? So the deal you can make and what you're getting, those are economic lessons. Those are things that say, yes, when I'm buying candy, I'm not going to the convenience store to buy the full-size candy bars. But, oh, by the way, if I'm really hungry 6 months from now and I am dying for chocolate and that's the closest place, I might do that. And I make that economic decision at that point. Those are the things that you teach when you're doing this kind of stuff in ways that the kids don't recognize that they're learning. But I can tell you, when you see the kids come back, they can't wait and they want to engage and they want to have the discussions, and it's wicked fun.
Yeah, I love this type of introduction because, I like games. And whenever you can gamify this and make it that it's a good time for the kid and they don't even think that they're learning and you're not pushing on them. The type of game I hate is when people try to push an educational game on me. Don't push an educational game on me, but if the game teaches a lesson, it's fun first, and I happen to learn something, then that's cool. But probability, risk management, kind of an introduction to statistics in a lot of ways.
Yep.
Right? You've got that. But there's another lesson here, Chuck, that I really like, which is, I'm going to say this in the funniest way possible. In some ways, Halloween is like a socialist or communist activity, right? Where I go to your house with my handout and you just put my loaf of bread for the day in it. And we all get the same thing. I mean, it is very much me, my brother, my sister, we're all getting the same stuff from every house we go to. You change it so it is, you're asking the question out of life, what do I want? Because really, the kid that makes the best choice, it isn't about taking the candy, taking the lottery, if you begin with the end in mind, Stephen Covey, you're going to get somewhere. So they come to Chuck's house and you're fundamentally asking them, what do you want from me?
Yeah, exactly right. What can I, and mind you, people say, well, it must cost you a fortune. It doesn't. I'm lucky in that, at least so far, it has not gotten to where, 3 towns over, people are coming over.
Well, you're also, Chuck, you're looking at this as entertainment value.
Absolutely. And I get to talk about it.
I got to imagine it's worth every dollar.
Of course it is. It absolutely is. I will say there's one other change that's happening this year, which is not in the odds or the money. We have noticed that we've given away more jackpots than we should have relative to how many jackpots are there and how many kids are playing the lottery, if you will. And so this year, when it's 25, we actually are going to, Gail, my wife, is going to randomly, number all of the envelopes, and the envelopes will be in a little tray and you can't touch them. You will pick a number that corresponds to an envelope.
Was there some feel in the envelope going on?
There was, and you could constantly tell it where a kid would do whatever. And we're going to do that only on the big lottery option. I'm not going to do it. You want to pick an envelope. You think you can tell the difference between $1.25? Good luck to you, because, oh, by the way, $1 coin and a quarter coin feel pretty much the same when they're both been put in an envelope with a little piece of paper wrapped around them that tells you what you were doing. And the other thing that I would tell you that's important for me, we try very hard to make sure the kids do not open their envelopes near us. And it's not because I want to be the grumpy guy who says, go home and learn your lesson. It's because I have to sell this to the next kid who comes up, and I want to be able to do it honestly.
Yeah, you can't say that the grand prize is gone.
Exactly.
Or
right.
have the look on your face even betray you.
When Liam, the neighbor child, won, he came running back to tell me that he had won.
Oh, no.
And he was like the third kid that we had seen all night. So now I've got kids and I'm like, please, I'm like, I got to tell you what you're playing for, but I'm like, please don't really play the lot. Like, I know that your odds of winning the lottery are now half of what they were, you know? So I don't want to know for that reason. I would not tell you that every kid complies with that. That's not a thing. And we don't let kids play twice. We like kids will go, I'll give you 5 pieces of candy, do this, and 2 pieces of candy. No. You get one shot at whatever you're doing. That's it. 3rd grade and up. We have made 2 exceptions. This year will be our 2nd exception for 2nd graders. Neighbor kids who know what's been going on and have been waiting for years because they've got older siblings who want to do this. So other than that, we've never made an exception down the scale because, again, at 2nd grade, we're too complicated. At 2nd grade, you could say, do this or not. And remember that a couple of years ago, you talk about the value of candy. A couple of years ago during the pandemic, it was candy or $1.50 gift certificate to the local ice cream shop, which you could bike to from our neighborhood. That should have been better. And the first year, that went really well. During the COVID year, that went really well. But the year after, well, I mean, not that I was complaining, Joe, but to make it happen, I bought a bunch of ice cream gift certificates that I wound up using myself.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. It's not like I miss much ice cream the rest of the year, by the way. You can look at me and tell that that's true. the fact is you can play this game any way you want. You can make it that the ice cream shop was thrilled with us because we were creating economic impact for them. Because you have a little kid who says, yes, I'll take the ice cream. And the parents were, the kid was going, hey, Mom, can we go get ice cream? I got that gift certificate.
Sure, they're buying 3 more for everybody else in the family.
Exactly right. And I will point out that the ice cream shop, after we did it the first year, they were so happy that what they did is they said, look, you're going to buy, this. But one of the things that kids love here, there's a place used to be called Wilbur's. They still make what they call Wilbur wheels. And Wilbur wheels were like $1.75. And they said, we'll make it that your gift card is for $1.50. That's what you're paying. But it can be for $1.50 of ice cream, or it can be for a Wilbur wheel.
Oh, cool.
Right? So they were getting involved and helping to participate that much more. And to me, it's really cool. And what I would love to see is somebody who does it at a trunk or treat event and literally puts 5 of them up in a row, right? Like, for stacking Benjamins, it would be stacking candies.
Right.
and it would be, here's the basic, here's the next one. Like when you come to each one, you can get your candy or you can go home with a little bit of money. Because that would also change things. If you had 5 in a row doing it, I came to get candy. And I always tell the story. The Snickers bar story is the first year that you could trade in your candy. We had a group of 7 girls. They came and the first 6 of them were like, take a handful of candy. No, we'll just take the 3 pieces. I put them in my jar. We get to the 7th girl and she's like, I want candy. And she picks 3 Snickers bars. And I go, I got to know why. When 6 of your friends just said, give me the money. I'll do what I can. And she was like, I go out to get Snickers bars. It's my favorite candy. My parents and I have a deal. They will not take any of my Snickers bars. They may eat some of my other candy.
This kid's brilliant.
They will never take a Snickers bar from me. It is what I come for on Halloween. It's the thing I most want to get. And you were just reaching in and like all 6 of my friends lost a Snickers bar. So yeah, somebody gave them to us like 2 houses ago. They're on the top. I get 3 Snickers bars here because she was watching me put them into my candy jar. It's exactly what I want. Economically, that's genius.
It's super.
That's genius. And by the way, what she should have then done is go, by the way, can I give you this handful of candy for like those other 3 Snickers bars that are sitting right at the top? Like, yeah. That's the kind of stuff that you can learn here. If your kids have too much candy and you want to take it away, make a donation. There's charities that will give it to the troops. Make a donation, but talk about hey, kids, if you're going to give that away for every, the candy that you like least, I'll add a dime. We'll make a cash donation on top of what you're doing. I'll add a dime to it for everyone. Teach them whatever the lesson is, or I'll put money into your piggy bank if you're going to give away some of your candy. Help them understand money lessons in ways that they don't actually, as you said, feel like we're, hey, kid, learn about money.
Well, and you've had over the years money lifers write you telling you that they've done exactly what you're talking about. I'd love to I'd love to see our stackers. And if you do, write me, joe@stackingbenjamins.com, and tell me, and I'll pass it on to Chuck because we'd love to hear your stories emulating this.
Well, and like I said, that's how I know that there's the guy rich in Orchard Beach, Maryland. I know exactly who it is, who winds up buying. He's like, we don't get enough trick-or-treaters, but if the worst that happens is I've got those Almond Joys that my wife loves, cool. And he's like, I don't want to forget about Halloween because the year that I don't get it is the year some kid's going to show up because I don't know who's changing, et cetera. But our street's kind of busy. He goes, I always have it out there. And he goes, I've loved it. He goes, the 5 kids that come in any given year, it's so much nicer than what it used to be because, wait, we're talking. Thanks so much for coming, whatever. Now, it hasn't turned into a thing where those 5 kids told a bunch of others and now he's got 20 kids and he's like, what'd you do to me? So for anybody who worries, like I said, I've been doing this for about a decade now.
It's fabulous.
And while there are times when you get a line at the table where a group comes up and you got to kind of manage it, and it is a little chaotic at my house when it's going on, it's a blast.
If there's anybody who likes the chaos, it's Chuck Jaffe. I also got to tell you, Chuck, so if you ever go back to the ice cream thing and you have to, I love the in air quotes, have to end up redeeming them yourself, just remind people that, no, that's not my tummy. That's a protective coating for my rock hard abs. Just tell them you've got this nice protective coating. That works for me. What the heck is going on at Money Life these days, my friend? Tell everybody what's going on with the show and let's create some new Money Lifers.
Well, Joe, what we'd like to tell people is that if you love stacking Benjamins and you want to get a lot more financial talk, Money Life is 5 days a week. And we've been doing
He's
this.
like one of the few shows that goes 3 days a week. How cute. That's cute, Joe.
Yeah. There was a thing in a group that we both belong where it's like, hey, we're putting up our 1400th show. We're like, slacker.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we've celebrated our 12th anniversary. We do 250 shows a year, so you can figure it out. We've done over 3,000 shows.
Holy cow.
It's an hour of talk a day. We work very hard. We have a feel that's a little bit more like radio than maybe the standard podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing 3 to 4 interviews every single day. And we're talking to the best and brightest minds in the investing world. And the idea is once you've decided what you want to do, you want to be able to hear from smart folks about, okay, this is making me nervous. Who's talking about it being a recession, a hard landing, a soft landing? What do you think is going to happen? We do some technical analysis. So you like guys come in and going, here's where I see the market going, consolidation, might be this happening, et cetera. We do fundamentals. We talk about sectors. We'll bring in experts like, you want to learn about banking? Here's the banking guy. Next time it's the technology guy or the semiconductor guy. We talk about all kinds of surveys out there. So when we're trying to make sure you understand what people are thinking about and doing with their money, every now and again, we do something really wacky, like the weird financial news. Mostly it is talking about the best and brightest minds in investing and giving you ideas. And what we say is the disagreement makes a market. We know that to be true, that, if you're saying, I love this idea, I want to go buy it, there's somebody on the other end selling it. And it doesn't make a difference what that is. We are looking right now at, say, NVIDIA. It is far and away the most important stock in the world right now, no matter
Never
what
heard
you
of
think
it.
of it. No. Well, here's what you need to know. On the MSCI All World Index, 64% of the companies, of the value, comes from U.S. companies. Just under 5% comes from companies in Japan. If you add together Germany and France, they have 4.4%, which is roughly equal to the value of NVIDIA.
Oh, man.
Okay? So we're literally talking every company in the world. So that means they're half of NVIDIA each individually. Every company in France and Germany that's in there is smaller than NVIDIA, let alone the US portion of it. And so what does that mean? That means that on a week like the one where we're recording this, NVIDIA dropped 4.5% on Tuesday. It was 45% roughly of the stock market's action that day. And oh, by the way, it picked up like 3.5% on Wednesday. You need to understand what that does. And then when you go, wait, I love NVIDIA. Do you really want, it's already a big weight in your portfolio.
Yeah,
so we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Even if you're an indexer, you're going where NVIDIA goes to some degree.
Absolutely. You have no choice. And you might think, oh, I'm being well diversified. But again, you buy an all world index and NVIDIA has more weighting than every company you're getting out of Germany and France. Combined.
That's crazy. Surround yourself with smart people, stackers, which is why I'm so pleased that I get to call Chuck Jaffe my friend. Chuck, thank you so much for hanging out and sharing this year's version. You and I are going to have a discussion here in the next couple months. We talked about it before we hit record. You've got a great pet insurance story to share, and we're going to talk about that soon, stackers.
I would not call it a great.
Well, yeah, good point.
I would not necessarily call it a great one, but it does involve my puppy. His name is Maho.
There he is.
Yeah, it involves my puppy Maho. Long felt, Joe, that most of the bad things that happen in the financial world have to happen to me so that I can write about them and talk about them. And it's far better if it happens to me than anybody else. So you can learn from my experience and Maho's misery.
Spoken like an award-winning journalist. Thanks a ton, Chuck.
Always a pleasure, Joe.
Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and I've been looking for easier ways to make money than working with these two dorks. Let me sure the benefits are good. I get all the tea Joe's mom likes to spill, and I'm also waiting for the whole enchilada Joe keeps talking about. Like when he says, someday, Doug, you'll get the whole enchilada. Man, that's going to taste great, isn't it? Unfortunately, while looking, and probably appropriate for Halloween week, I found some truly disturbing ways to make money. How about this one? Back in the early 2000s, Wallace Souza was suspected of killing lots of people in Sao Paulo, Brazil. In fact, Souza often pointed out to everyone that the murders had taken place. So here's today's question. What was Sousa's job that allowed him to brazenly tell everyone about the people he'd allegedly murdered? I'll be back right after I go tell Joe's mom that no matter what happened upstairs, I didn't do it. Promise.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada?
Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Hey there, stackers. I'm morbid job seeker and guy with a plot twist, Joe's mom's neighbor Doug. Wallace Sousa is suspected of killing many people in Brazil back in the early 2000s, but he died from chronic liver disease before being brought to justice. Today's question was, what was Sousa's profession that helped him make money off all of these murders? The answer?
What is your profession?
Okay. So he wasn't kidding about all of those pineapple rum drinks, was he?
He's already had
Isn't that the line from 300?
Yes, but that has nothing to do with my trivia.
You have to say it like that. If you're going to say, what is your profession, don't you have to say it like Leonidas?
It's an involuntary response whenever you hear that question.
I think out of the two of you, one of you would get that.
Well, I'm just thinking it's pronounced Leonidas, like the town of Michigan. No?
Yeah, no.
Too soon?
Okay. Wow. We're off on like 3 shiny objects right now. Can we get back to the answer that everybody is waiting for?
Yeah, Wallace Sousa.
Seats?
John Philip Sousa. He was a tuba player.
Right. Well, that was his cousin.
Oh.
But his more infamous cousin, Wallace, was the host of a popular daily... Oh, stop. Oh, my God.
Freedom! William Wallace.
As soon as I said it, I'm like, oh, God, just keep going, Doug, because he's going to invoke. He did it. And he did it.
It's William Wallace.
Trivia off the rails? Does this ever happen?
Oh, my God.
Pineapple drink. Pineapple drink. What else do you got for me?
Spill a little in the glass next time, bartender. Okay. I'm going to just say the answer,
so
and I'm not
tuba
stopping.
Scotsman, what did he do for work?
Yes. The freedom-fighting Scotsman in Brazil. Sousa was the host of a popular daily television show called Canal Livre, a hard copy true crime type show that was successful because Sousa always seemed to beat the other news crews to the scene of the murder and often police too. Sousa not only blamed a rival show of framing him, he also, wait for it, made income as a state senator as well. Talk about a guy who loved cruelty. And now, two guys who kind of remind me of Casper the Friendly Ghost, because they're both really white and round and cuddly. Back to Joe and OG.
So this guy was like the Chris Hansen of Brazil.
He totally was.
Yeah.
Except he was also the creepy guy that was.
Chris Hansen was the creepy guy.
Well, good point.
That's what happened. He ended up being the guy.
I forgot. Cut to the chase, Joe.
Yeah.
He was the Chris Hansen.
Although Chris Hansen was a little bit more, he was more into the kiddos, I think.
Oh,
okay.
Yuck.
Check, please.
No, I mean, that's what the show was about. The show was about To Catch a Predator. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
He was the predator. You'll never catch me. I'm on the other side of the camera.
I'm the guy pointing out everybody else.
You know what? When you point your finger at somebody else, there are three fingers pointing back at you.
Hey, let's jump into our headline, Doug. Great idea.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamin's headlines.
Our headline today is something creepy. Imagine that you get to retirement, dun, 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 and you don't have enough money. Baby boomers now spilling the tea, as Doug said. They regret retirement savings plans and taking Social Security early. This is from Business Insider, written by Noah Scheidlauer. Noah writes, responses to an opt-in BI reader survey, along with interviews with 20 respondents, suggested that preparing for retirement while juggling life's many obstacles is often a trial and error process. Many said they couldn't crack the code on balancing how much to save, where to invest, when to retire, and how to be fiscally responsible when raising a family. Others said they took Social Security payments too early or didn't pursue career opportunities that might have led to higher pay. I think the one thing, OG, as we start to dive into this headline, what we don't want to do is get to our retirement and be filled with regret.
Yep.
That was a fastball grooved right down the middle.
Correct.
Go on.
And that's a wrap, folks.
Janice Carroll, 79, said she was in the middle class for much of her life, made decent wages, but now she's struggling to live comfortably on about $25,000 in Social Security payments each year, and she's down to $35,000 in savings. That's a tough thing for Janice, OG, is that, when you're 79 years old and you've got $35,000, that $35,000 is your last $35,000. You're not going back to work at 79 years old.
Yeah, probably not.
Like, what do you do? And I know there's a bunch of people out there who are 30 years old right now, and they're thinking, I can't afford to save. But I love, this is actually a Susie Orman line that I really like a lot. I can't believe I said that as a sentence. It must be Halloween week, that I super like a lot. And it was, if you're 30 years old and you hear this and you think you can't save now, imagine you're 79 and you have only $35,000 in savings because you didn't save. All of a sudden, OG, the priorities seem to change for the 30-year-old.
Yeah, I hear that stuff, and I just think I feel like it's impossible to put yourself really in those shoes unless you're experiencing it, right? Like if you have the opportunity to see that firsthand, if you have a parent or a loved one or somebody that you are close to that is experiencing kind of those things, then you get an idea of what that really looks like. Because you can't, when you're 30 or 40 or 50 and you say, well, imagine if you don't have money, it's like, yeah, whatever. It's no different than like health related things. Although people still make bad health choices, but I feel like it's like if you have the opportunity to witness stuff firsthand, you're more likely to go, whoa, geez, I probably should do a different thing here. Like my parents smoked all the time when I was a kid, and now I only smoke like every other day because I'm like, I don't want to be like them.
I thought you were talking real life.
Like, I'm talking real life.
You're always out of the back porch. Just
have one cigar a week, not 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Right.
But my point is that when you see different behaviors, especially early on, especially if it has some sort of impact for you, then you're less likely to want to repeat that and more likely to, to do something about it. So this whole like imagine if you can thing, I think that's, I don't know. I don't really sign off on that. The problem with compounding, the problem with saving money is that it's really hard to see the benefits of it in real time because it's such a small amount. I don't care how much you're saving, whether you're saving $100 a month or $1,000 a month or whatever. It just seems like it's taking forever to really turn into real money. And because we measure everything in this, and our senses are around how much money we earn and the people around us earn, you know, so if you're out there and you make $80,000 a year and you're putting $500 a month in your Roth IRA, at the end of the year, you have $6,000, right? Plus maybe a little market growth. And so you see that and you say like, or 7,000, you're like, I just, that's, you know, I make 80, that's 7,000. Like that's nothing, but it's not the 7 that matters. It's the fact that you do it for the next 30 years that matters. And it's really, really, really hard to see the results of it. And it's the same thing. I hate to go back to it, but it's the same thing as like eating healthy or working out or whatever. You know, you just don't get to have a week of no carbs and be shredded. You know what I mean? Like you have to do it. You have to do that every day from now until forever. And then you look really good. I think you have to take away the idea that this is a short-term thing and recognize that this is who you are now as a person. You know, I am the person who saves 5% of my income, 10% of my income, 15%. Like this is what I do now. I'm not doing this for a short term and then I can go back to my old ways.
Let's also talk about the flip side of that too. The regret thing I don't like either though, OG, because you are where you are. You know, you did what you did.
Yeah.
You've landed today. We can't go back and do anything with that. So let's be hopeful and optimistic about where we are now and move forward, because the regret just ruins your chance of getting any chance you have of getting on your feet and going forward.
I had a client who became a client after he was a client of another advisor who had retired, and he was already retired. He retired early based on the advice of this other advisor in the early 2000s. And he was, 47, 48 years old, very early retirement by even today's standards. But, you know, think back 25 years ago, way
shockingly early. Retired. Yeah.
It was all based on the premise that, hey, during the 90s, the market grew at, 30% a year. So as long as you only spend 10, life is good. And so he had about $1 million and his lifestyle was 100,000. Well, obviously we know how this story ends. He retired in 2000 and you go through the 2000s and you can see that portfolio dwindling. And I had a conversation with him maybe 5 or 6 years ago as he was kind of wrapping up all of his money. He had basically spent it all. It took 20 years. He said, I want you to know I don't have any regrets. He said, I know, you have been working with me for 20 years and you trying to stretch this out as long as we can. We've had lots of conversations about, lifestyle and increases, inflation and all this other sort of stuff. He goes, but I don't have any regrets. I retired when I was in the prime of my physical life. I was 50 years old and I got to hang out with all my kids and my grandkids and do all their stuff. And now I'm 70 or 72. I just had knee surgery. Now I'm in this stage of my life. And I'd be really upset if I would have worked those 20 years. I'd be super rich, but I still have bad knees at 72, and I wouldn't have been able to go skiing with my kids and grandkids and, do all the stuff that I was able to do. So I'm not mad that I did it. I wish it would have turned out a little differently, money wise, like maybe just 1 or 2 better market years along the way. But yeah, I'm with you. I think if you have some sort of regrets around a decision that you've done in the past, there's no energy there to make a decision moving forward, right? You need to look at it and just say, we are where we are. And now what do we do with the information we have now? Because I'm firmly convinced nobody wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to try to figure out a way to make really bad money decisions today.
Yeah.
You just live your life. You do what you can do, and life is how it is. Now, we can all look back and maybe wish we would have done different decisions, but, you are where you are. So now it's about, here's where I am. What do I have to do with this info moving forward?
It's funny on that point. Janice looks back on some of the things that she regrets, and there are 3 of them specifically. And then she points to the future, and I'd love to run these by you because I feel like all these things that she worries about should not have the same space in her brain. The writer says, though she retired over a decade ago with enough to get by, she said, number 1, not being savvier with investing. 2, moving too frequently. And 3, draining an individual IRA to buy a home she lost $50,000 on contributed to her fears about the future. I would suggest you don't need to be that savvy of an investor to make
I was going to say the first one I was thinking like savviness doesn't have anything to do with it. You just have to be disciplined and patient.
Moving too frequently, maybe some cost. Okay, maybe a little, but taking $50,000 out of your IRA.
I was going to say that the moving part does have a lot of impact, and whether it's moving because I think, and maybe, this is how I'm interpreting it. I'm thinking moving as in I'm upgrading, right? Rich dad, poor dad stuff.
Oh, right.
Of like, oh, I got another promotion. I can move a block closer to the lake. I can move a block closer to the school. I can, I'm just resetting this, rat racing the whole thing. And this is also true with mortgages and refinancing. There is a direct correlation between financial independence and mortgage refinancing. Like the likelihood of those things happening are on the opposite ends. If every time your house goes up in value, you're going back to the bank going, hey, how do I get $100,000 out of this to remodel the kitchen? How do I get $100,000 out of this to put a pool in? How do I get $100,000 out of this to buy, a new car or whatever? If you're dipping back into that and you haven't made any progress on that note, I see that as a direct correlation to financial insecurity, I guess is a good way of saying it. But that last one, taking money out.
Yep, taking $50,000 out of your IRA to buy a house, that's the mistake.
Yeah.
That's the mistake. And again, she is where she is. Yeah. I'm sure she enjoyed the house.
It all depends on when she did it, obviously. But
sure.
But yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I know why. It's because it's just like kind of beaten to our skulls from birth. Like, oh, you get married and you buy a house with a white picket fence and you have 3.2 kids. And, it's like all those things. We like to think we have to have that stuff. And then it's like, well, the housing costs are more expensive and they've risen higher than income and, all this issue that goes with that. So instead of just going, okay, well, I just have to wait a few years, we just press the easy button and say, well, I got to have a house now. I got to have a house. So I'm going to forego, this, in this case, let's say that she did it early on, it's $50K compounded into years and years and years of market growth for what? A place to live. I mean, you can live in an apartment in the same community, probably.
But again, she is where she is.
Yeah.
I mean, that is done. Once you make that move, it's done. Let's talk about the present. This is what Janice says about the future. She's considered returning to work, but worries it will be too physically and mentally taxing. Of course, at 79 years old, I think, oh, gee, nobody wants to do it. But you know what I think? I think people contemplate this stuff. Like if you think that you want to go back to work, what's the downside? Go back to work, see if you can handle it. And if you can't,
stop.
Then 3 weeks later, just go, I couldn't do it. Like sitting around worrying about it.
Yeah.
Isn't solving anything. My advice to Janice would be, if you think going back to work is going to help solve your problem, then try it. There is literally no downside. What is somebody going to do? Write bad stuff about you on the internet that you were a bad employee? You're 79 years old.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well, and there could be some work that's adjacent to what you already enjoy spending time with. For example, you could help out at church or work at the store that you shop at a lot. Or, there's lots of adjacent things that you're already doing that you could do potentially, you could look at potentially doing for money. And to your point, at the end of the day, like, yeah, just ready, fire, aim, go do something and see what happens. Like what's the worst that happens is you work for 2 weeks, you get a little paycheck for 2 weeks. You go, yeah, this sucks. I'd rather be sitting at home.
I think when it comes to making money, putting money in your pocket, just go try something.
Yeah.
I think that on the other side, when it comes to like the secret that could have maybe saved Janice, and again, I don't want Janice to regret more than she clearly already does where she is. Automation. Automate. If you think you can't save, automate it. I love the strategy that you've used forever, OG, in meetings where you help people just raise their automatic savings by just a little bit. Say, let's try it. I love that strategy. It's so good. Let's just try it. Hey,
let's find out where you'll break.
Yeah. Just like with Janice. Hey, if it doesn't work, guess what we do?
Yeah.
We move it back. How many times have people ever called you to say, let's move it back?
It never happens.
So amazing.
Especially when you do it in like small dollar amounts, right? It's like $25 a month. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Automate it. Automate it. Make a move. Pause the podcast right now, stackers, and do the scariest thing possible here on on Halloween week, and let's automate it. And we'd love to hear from you about how you automated it. We're challenging you. You think this ain't a challenge? This is a challenge, stacker. Go automate it.
For every stacker that automates something, I will have another pina colada.
And getting caught in the rain. Maybe not. I don't like that song.
It's so weird.
No?
That song is it's a dumb story. It's a weird story. So, hey, my spouse and I are cheating on each other. And then we realize that while we're cheating on each other, we find somebody on Tinder or Hinge that we thought was awesome. And it turned out it was the person I was with.
It's sweet. It's a nice, sweet story.
The cool news is you can't be mad at one another then.
Right. You're already with probably the best person for you. And,
it's horrible.
And you just have to realize it and think, yeah, it's a sweet story.
Have you seen those videos where they take things and turn them into what they're not? So they take like Frozen and turn it into like a horror film. Or I sent Doug one Succession.
Oh,
the Succession
just by
one.
The editing. Yeah.
The Succession they turned into a love story between Greg and what's his name? Who's the Tom? Greg and Tom.
Tom.
Succession was a love story.
Great with names today.
I'll see if I can't find that and we can play maybe a little.
And by the way, Joe, I'm glad you brought up easy listening because that's going to come up later on the back porch.
Oh boy.
When you talked about like an easy listening song, Pina Colada, just wait, it's coming back.
Maybe I'll go from Mr. Sad Mayor to Mr. Happy Mayor when I hear that story. These are frightening. OG, nice pick with this headline. OG sent that to us a couple days ago, and fantastic headline. If you want to dive more into this, Kevin Bailey's got your back because he writes our 201 newsletter, comes out tomorrow and twice a week. Not only do you get, by the way, great tips in your email box, but we also then are able to send you when we're going on the road. And coming up, I'm going to Vegas, baby. I will be in Vegas next Thursday night at Las Vegas Brewing. Head to stackingbenjamins.com/meetup if you're in the Las Vegas area next Thursday. It looks like we already got a nice group of people coming, which is going to be fun. Cannot wait to hang out with our stacker community. I talked to people at Las Vegas Brewing. They're going to put us outside, and just a beautiful time to be in Vegas this time of year. So looking forward to that. stackingbenjamins.com/meetup to tell us that you're coming. Doug, let's go. Speaking of the back porch, let's go to the back porch because, man, we got some stuff happening in the basement and elsewhere.
Well, we do. First of all, Gertrude brought this up online not long ago, but unbeknownst to me, because I'm normally sleeping when I'm not on air, we celebrated 9 years with a basement group on Facebook.
No, you mean like 9 days, don't you? That's been around for 9 days, I think.
Yeah, no, I know it feels like yesterday, but it has been 9 years. We must have started the basement group like the day after Zuckerberg started Facebook, because that's a long
I have a quick
time.
Question.
Yeah.
What is the Facebook?
The Facebook.
It's like Kmart's, Ford's.
Right.
Someplace I never visit.
You need to finally kill your MySpace account, OG.
I can upgrade?
Move over to the Facebook.
I can only handle one thing at a time. It's like Hinge or...
So he could drink his pina coladas.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, babe. I thought I was finding you like the song. Instead, I was
looking for you.
I found all these other people.
I was swiping right this whole time looking for you. That's a different thing.
I had to go on those 5 dates.
I had to check and make sure they weren't you.
Can we focus here?
No. I'm wearing a clown hat.
And what's new?
Do you think somebody's had too much Halloween candy?
I think there's a little sugar buzz happening. 9 years. And that's not the podcast. That's just a subset of our podcast years. But 9 years with a really strong community on Facebook called The Basement. If you're not in The Basement on Facebook, you got to join because there's nearly as much good information and discussion going on there as there is here today.
We've had some great discussions lately. People asking questions about credit card points. I know we had that recently. We had somebody asking about moving, and the Hive Mind has done a great job of helping allay people's concerns. Plus, a good helping of dad jokes, which I'm always appreciative of.
The Basement's awesome. Unfortunately, Gertrude censors most of my comments. All the good stuff doesn't make it through. I've got a little beef with her about that.
Get you.
But thanks to all of you for hanging out with us online. For hanging out with Doug and I, not OG, who's, quote, too good for
he's not out there as much. And
our Facebook group.
Another place, Joe, where people say a lot of great things regarding just personal investing in general is on the reviews for our show. Can I read you some of these great reviews we've gotten recently? There's a ton.
Well, let's go with the 1 for now.
Oh, I want to do like 7.
Okay, let's do 1. How about if we meet you halfway and do 1?
No, I'm not going to abide by that constraint that the man is putting on me. Really fast, I'm going to read this one only because the username is hilarious. The review is just funny and educational all in one, but the username, not sucky small town.
They must live in Texarkana. There's be somebody here.
And then I promised you that we were going to talk about like easy listening again. We had a review from Venger03. It sounds kind of like Avenger, but anyways, Venger03. These guys give a very easily to listen to and entertaining news on personal finance. If you want to build a solid foundation but don't need to save 5 cents on bread, stop here.
Wow.
So we're apparently like the
Shots
Linda
fired.
Rod. Yeah, I know. We're the Linda Rodstadt and James Taylor of financial podcasting because we're easy listening.
That's so good.
And there's so many good ones, but I want to read one more because who was it? It was Nate. Oh, sorry. Asset Nate is the username. Money Magic.
Did you almost call him Ass Nate?
Well, I don't have my glasses on, and that's what the username jumps out at you. Yeah, you just see ASS.
It's like Latin.
Bam.
Ass at Nate. Ass at Nate.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like Magic Mike. Ass Nate. That's where he's going. He's going with his nighttime job.
Yeah. Anyways, Ask Nate says, listening to these guys, and you're actually gonna think that's his name when you hear me read this. Title, Money Magic. Listening to these guys is like listening to your grandpa and great uncles tell you a story.
Oh, man.
Maybe you guys.
Not saying you're old, but wise. The jokes are edgy enough to make them funny. Plus, it makes it entertaining while learning about money. I tune in every MWF is that an acronym for something? To listen to the magic.
He doesn't know what MWF is. I'm not explaining it. You explaining it?
I think that sounds naughty.
No idea.
There's so many other good ones, but I had to read those.
Well, thank you so much, Nate. And thanks to Not Sucky Small Town for the nice reviews. And I've been also sending out a few books to people. So if you sent me an email, they're starting to roll out finally. I'm in town and I finally got caught up from being a little bit behind after I went out of the country. I don't know if I told you guys, but I went to Peru.
And that's a wrap.
Very, very, very good time. Quick, the horror story's beginning.
And scene.
He's in the house, right? All right, that's going to do it for today. On Wednesday, it is another very special Halloween week show. We're going to leave that a surprise, but you'll definitely want to tune in on Wednesday. So, Doug, finish it off, man. What should be on the to-do list? To-do list today. How about that? No?
I'm just going to ignore that. Here's what's stacked up on our to-do list for today. First, take some advice from Chuck Jaffe. Want to have some fun, help your neighborhood, and teach kids money lessons? Create a fun game for your trick-or-treaters. Heck, if you do, write to us and tell us how it went. We'd love to know. Second, take some advice from our headline. You don't want to regret your retirement. Time to research as many stories as possible. Take Social Security later. Plan for emergencies and things that go bump in your retirement. Oh, I see what you did there, like bump in the night, but bump in your Halloween. I got it. Okay, but the big lesson? Don't tell Joe's mom you love her new witch costume. Turns out, it's just her normal nightgown. Yeah. Ouch. Thanks to Chuck Jaffe for joining us. You'll find Chuck's podcast 5 days a week at The Money Life Show, where you're listening to us right now. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2024, and is created by Joe Salsihai. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.
I've noticed that the NFL has been selling out these football games, not just the ones that are in.
You just noticed this?
What?
In London, but also the ones that
also
are
the ones in America.
In German, the ones in America. No, I'm talking about when they go overseas.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I didn't know there were that many NFL fans, like American football fans. But man, they're selling. Are those just expats? Are those just Americans that pack the stadium?
In fact, from a business perspective, and I learned this from the our sister podcast called Acquired. It's a little tiny podcast. It's not that successful yet.
Those guys don't owe everything to us.
But those guys are smart, and they do a lot of research. They've learned, what their research techniques from us, of course. But they did a whole amazing episode on the NFL. It's not very old, so I think it's still relevant data. And they actually have incredibly few people, locals, going to those games in Europe and, and other countries. Mexico, I think they did one in Brazil this year, if I'm not mistaken, but it's almost all either expats or Americans flying. Let's go see a game in Germany. That'll be awesome.
It's a great idea, though.
It is, except that it's the real goal of trying to make American football an international game is largely failing. It has almost no uptake in those other countries. They've tried to have I was going to say junior leagues, but like minor leagues of football. They're getting no attendance at those. It's not taking off like the NBA's. Yeah, not taking off like the NBA's international efforts, which have truly made that game global.
But man, they keep trying. I saw a video the other day, which was a game from Munich. This was Baltimore against Cincinnati. Listen to NFL football. Even if you're not a football fan, listen to NFL football craziness in German. And it's more fun if you don't speak German.
Second and goal. Gute 6 Yards. Oh, die fummeln den Ball und Lamar Jackson. Nein! Das ist unglaublich. Du machst mich fertig. Und kriegt den noch irgendwo hin? Der serviert den nächsten Touchdown. Was ist das für eine Show? Isaiah Likely.
Oh my God.
Sag mal, würden wir jetzt hier auf der PlayStation
Touchdown!
I want to listen to an entire game with just
fumbling.
That.
I like fumbling. Fumbling the football.
Fantastic.
Yes.
That's pretty funny.
But I don't know, man. I still feel like I'm kind of being yelled at with that German accent, don't you? I'm like, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I swear.
That's fun.
So good listening to German guys get excited about Lamar Jackson escaping after a fumble and making a touchdown.
There was that, I don't even know what movie it was in, but it's a scene that Hitler is getting really mad. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they dub in the American lines, like as if that's the translation. And they'll always make it about something completely nonsensical, like, Alabama lost to Georgia or something like that. But it's like, I'll find it and I'll post that for you guys. But I have something else that's a little bit more relevant. This is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time.
During Halloween week, you're playing a Christmas movie.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Hobbs?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think someone sent you a Christmasgram.
Excuse me. I'm here to see a Walter Hobbs. Dad! I walked all day and night to find you.
You look like you came from the North Pole.
It's exactly where I came from.
It's a little complicated, but it's nothing that we can't handle.
He thinks he's an elf.
I'm sorry, what?
It says taken as a child.
I was adopted, but you didn't know I was
tortured, twisted, and broken.
Guess what? I love you. I love you. I love you.
You get the hell out of here. Some kind of game. What do you want? Some money?
No. I just wanted to meet you. I thought you might want to meet me.
You saw that guy. He's certifiably insane.
Looks like a Christmas tree.
He's probably just reverting to a state of childlike dependency.
What
What are we gonna do? We can't leave him alone. What he needs is to be nurtured.
They were just having a little fun.
Fun. So felonies are fun now. Introduce him to Emily and Michael.
Go away!
Once he comes to terms with reality, he should drop the whole health thing and move on with his life.
I can't go to sleep unless I get tucked in.
Elf is psychological horror.
You know the scene where he goes, I can't go to sleep unless I get tucked in, and then he goes, tickle fight. Like they cut right as he like grabs him. Like dung.
Very scary.
Yes.
Okay, OG, come tuck me in now.
Don't threaten me with a good time.